When flying out of San Diego's Lindbergh Field, when you walk up and it's broad daylight and you wonder if the airport is even open, it's a very disconcerting experience to walk. I walked from the short-term parking because I'm only there for one night. Walked from the short-term parking. There was not a single soul in the parking lot. And then I walked over the Sky Bridge and there was not a single person on the curb waiting to get picked up. There was not a single car dropping a passenger off. It was a ghost town. We had 10 people on the flight this morning on a 737. And, it's almost like a BBJ. We got the 737-700 for 15 to 18 passengers, and we had less than that on the 737 all to ourselves, and it was a very interesting experience, to say the least. We got thanked for giving the airline a little bit of income.
Absolutely.
I'm sure that it probably covered at least 5% of their fuel bill.
Maybe 0.5.
Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe. And
we spent a little bit more on the ticket, so we'll give them that.
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk about that a little bit later in the show. And a lot of questions that have come across my inbox is, why are you guys still flying? A lot of family and friends have sent me messages or text messages saying, hey, your planes, I see on the news that they're empty. Why are you putting yourself at risk? Why do you have to work? Why can't they just keep you home? And we talked a little bit about that in the last show. It's all that stuff that's down there in the cargo hold. In the last couple walk arounds I did, I kind of took note, because they're still out there throwing boxes and bins of things. What are they? It's pretty much, I saw 4 tugs full of U.S. mail getting loaded in the bottom of our airplane last week. And there's, boxes and shipping containers. So the shipping is still strong. I'm sure that's an underappreciated or underrealized aspect of what domestic airlines do is transport a rather sizable amount of mail. Yeah.
Especially.
Yeah, for sure. So, and Rob, what about yourself? You're in the middle of a trip. I know last time we spoke, you were at home playing some pickleball with the family, and we kind of heard all about that. And it didn't cancel, huh? You actually had a trip that worked out.
Well, it was it's a trip that's pieced together. So the original trip did get canceled up, and so they put together some flying for me. I've got a 4-day trip, and I'm doing 4 flights total on a 4-day trip. And one of the flights is going to be a deadhead. So it's not very productive, but we just got to, keep the planes moving. And like you said, get people and cargo to where they need to be. So today I'm in New Orleans. Or how do you say that? Nolens,
baby. Yep.
So surprisingly, we had 49 passengers on board, but there was about 6 deadheading crew members on that one. But what's that? 43 total passengers. So paying passengers. So it was probably the most crowded airplane I've flown in about 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So,
well, it's funny because I was operating a flight a few days ago, and I think we had 30 total on board, and that's 6 crew members plus another 12 deadheaders.
Yeah.
So, you didn't have
a lot of deadheading going on.
Yeah. And then the paying passengers, you're always kind of curious, like, where are you going? Why are you flying right now? Are you essential? Are you just
right?
See Nana. I mean, who knows?
Yeah. The passengers we had on board, they didn't look essential. Hate to say that. Hate to be blunt. But
did you see some interesting protective gear there? I mean, I've seen some pretty crazy stuff.
Yeah, there's some good stuff. I mean, you start to see some interesting stuff, like a lot of people like to wear their sports teams colors. So, Green Bay, or, pulling into here, you'd see a lot of New Orleans Saints football stuff as like a handkerchief or a homemade mask. So that's neat to see. I saw something on social media where a nurse had looked like had Mick Jagger lips, and when she opened it up, it had a big, huge smile with a mouthful of teeth.
Nice.
So that was kind of funny to see that. So people are getting creative, and they're I guess they're doing their part to try to contain this thing.
Yeah, I was looking online for a Bane mask that I could somehow modify and throw an N95 in there somehow. It'll change my voice as a voice changer. So you want to fly today? No luck though. Nothing that would work out or would be approved by the company. But hey, gotta have fun with it, right? You gotta try to.
Absolutely.
Now that the FAA and the DOT have said that we should, as flight crew members, be wearing masks anytime we're on a flight duty period. Roger, do you have any kind of direction at this point from the FAA for the private side of things?
Nope, we don't get a whole lot of oversight on the Part 91 aspect.
Yeah,
we kind of are left to our own devices. I have not seen any guidance from anywhere. I do get some updates from a previous outfit that I did work for who has a 135 arm, and I'm still on their list, and so most of the updates I get, which I'm actually pretty grateful for, especially when it comes to flight restrictions, both domestic and international. But that's kind of something that I wouldn't normally get. It's not associated with my job at all in any way. The only guidance that we've gotten is actually internal, and in the end, internal is really just 3 or 4 of us on how we're going to do things differently. And in the end, we haven't even had to use it yet because we haven't flown a passenger.
And where you headed, and if they're staying in Texas, they're forced to quarantine for 14 days. Yeah,
correct.
So
that's pretty much what it was. Where we landed, when we had arrived in Austin, they had closed off all the exits except for one, and they did have it cordoned off so that you were siphoned down to one person who did ask where you were coming from, and then, okay, we're coming from California, and so we got shuttled off to the GPS officer who had us fill out the paperwork, and okay, well, we're going to be here. Basically, for us, it was probably a little bit less because for 2 reasons. One, because we were flight crew.
Right.
Well, hey, we're flight crew, and we're only going to be here one night because really we're just picking up an airplane, and then we're going to be going right back home. But that's how they were doing it. From a commercial side, if you're coming from one of those areas of concern, I think is how they're phrasing it. And then past that, you get shuttled off to a separate officer. And now it's, not that I really have anywhere to go, but I'm pretty much quarantining myself in my hotel room.
Yeah, we have some information, hits our email inbox for work here at Legacy Airlines. Probably every, would you say, Rob, a couple hours, we're getting something either from HQ or from a chief pilot or from director of flight ops or director of training or something.
See at least 2 emails a day minimum.
Yeah, and a lot of it is okay. So one thing is the company sent us a PDF where we fill out our employee number and name and print this form out, and it's by the Department of Transportation authorizing us as flight crew members while on duty, if we are in a city where they have some kind of shelter in place program like Texas does, and you're at a hotel and you have to get out and get some food. If you get stopped, you're supposed to carry your ID, your company ID, and this form with you, and it allows.